Welcome, welcome, welcome to Student of the Gun Radio. I am your host, Professor Paul Markle, and I am coming to you from the Silencer Shop Studios, home of the glass case of emotion.
Silencershop.com, the easiest way to buy silencers online, period.
And we hope that you're enjoying 2016 so far. Oh, wow. I know. You're saying to yourself, man, I can't get used to that. I can't get used to the fact that it's a new year.
I know.
Well, get used to it, hippies. It is kind of sad, though. I'm sorry to see a year ending in 5 go away.
You know what's kind of funny? Is last year, in 2015, when that year started, for some reason I had to write dates a lot. I don't know why, but I had to write the date.
You were writing.
So I was always like scribbling it out and changing it to a 5.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now almost everything that I do is technical. So
it's online. It's digital.
It's automatic fill-in dates, and it's kind of cool because I don't have to mess up now.
I literally write 2 checks a month.
Yeah.
2 paper checks a month that I have to fill in the date. So I had to catch myself.
I've successfully eliminated checks from my life, I think.
Yes, I'm almost eliminated, but 2 actual paper checks every month. Your mom doesn't even have checks.
Huh. She
doesn't even have. I said something about writing a check, and she said, I haven't written a paper check in 3 years.
That's interesting.
Like, we have paper checks, though. And they even say
I have a whole book.
They even say the company
checks.
name on them.
Yeah.
But the great thing about not writing paper checks very often is when you order a book of checks, they last for years.
Yeah. So I ordered them. I ordered my checks like when I first started the business.
And you still have that? You're still working
still
on the same
them.
one.
Yeah.
Well. But we're not talking about checks today. We're talking about ammo. We're talking about fitness. We're talking about lots of stuff. We're talking about gun-related things and freedom-related things, and the fact that here at Student of the Gun, we view firearms first and foremost as instruments of liberty, and then after that, then you can use them as toys or whatever.
I have a question.
You can play games with them, but
who do you think you are?
Who do I think I am?
Yeah. Like, who are you? Why should they listen to you?
I don't know.
Because you have a microphone?
Because I have a microphone. Yeah, exactly. And you listen to every damn word I have to say.
It's 2016 now, so I'm assuming that a lot of people, some of their resolutions were to get concealed carry training or something like that, and they probably found us on iTunes, and they want to know who you are.
Oh, okay. Well, then go to YouTube and watch.
No, don't go to YouTube.
No, don't go to YouTube.
Don't go to YouTube. Go to studentofthegun.com.
Go to studentofthegun.com. Okay. Yeah. Well, if it's a rhetorical question, Woodcock, then just answer it for me. I'm not really sure what you're diving at there. Who am I? I'm not going to give my resume right now on the radio.
No, but you're the host of the show.
I am the host of the show. And
what's
who are
your name?
you?
Your name's like...
Oh, you want me to say? I said who I was.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't listening.
You need to listen louder, freak.
I do. On the other side, everybody that can hear us right now is like, he already said that.
Yeah, he already said that.
I am Jared Markle, the digital mastermind of Student of the Gun. And that's who I am. And you should care.
I said I was your host, Professor Paul Markle.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, coming to you live from the Silencer Shop Studios.
I didn't hear your host, Professor Paul.
You just tune it out, don't you? All right, it's Wednesday. And that is some of you, for a lot of you out there in the audience, Wednesday is your favorite day because you like to move it, and we like to move it. I know Jared does.
As I mentioned last week, we're going to talk about balance. And this is actually a topic from somebody that follows me, and I follow her on Instagram. It's Amber J Energy at AMBERJAY Energy. And she's got some cool stuff on there, so go check her out. And don't forget about the code PREPARED from SWAT Fuel. You can go to SWATFuelStore.com and save 15% on your order by using PREPARED, prepared. Now let's talk about balance. Balance is very important in any aspect of life, in business, and as an athlete, of course. And I'm going to come to you as an athlete. If you're some of my friends and myself, actually, when I was younger, I was hard-headed, believe it or not. I know that usually you're not hard-headed. Were you hard-headed when you were younger?
Are you kidding me?
If you guys watched the Team Honey Badger launch series, you would know that I wouldn't really consider that hard-headed. I would just consider that firm in my position, or firm in your position.
Firm in your position, that's right.
Anyway, so as an athlete, when I was younger, I would go hard with working out. But I never really thought about balancing my life. I never thought about stretching. I never thought about warming up. I just worked out really hard. And it kind of came back and bit me. I had to have shoulder surgery. I had arthritis and bone spurs, and I'm assuming that the arthritis was from powerlifting in high school, what we did with the wrestling team. And then my rotator cuff was also torn, and that was probably from not stretching. If I would have balanced my training, if I would have stretched, if I would have warmed up, if I would have balanced all of that stuff together, then it would have been better off. I would have been better off. Never would have had to have surgery. And as in a business, from a business perspective, and this is something that I have a hard time with, I want to work all the time because there's so much to get done. Like even when I go home, I'm on my laptop working. But you need to balance your work life too. Work, but you also need to relax your brain, let it rest, read a book. And do you have anything more to say about that?
No, I mean, you're absolutely right. Actually, in the last chapter of the Honey Badger book is all about balance. And
I'm glad you picked up that hint.
Well, it is. It's because it's very natural, especially for men, but human beings in general, to get wrapped around the axle about, even if it's a good subject, even if it's a positive thing, people will get super into whatever, whether it's running or whether it's lifting or whether it doesn't matter. Gun people do this all the time. We get really hardcore wrapped around the axle on one topic, and then we neglect everything else. For a great example is people that go out and they get all these super cool ninja killing tools, and they never even consider what would you do if someone that you loved was bleeding to death. Well, I got my gun. I got a Kimber Crimson Carry 3 with depleted uranium hollow point Hydroshock ammunition in it in a derp leather slick slide holster. Okay. So you're in a rollover car crash and your child is bleeding to death. What are you going to do with your Kimber Crimson Carry and a slick slide holster?
Shoot every single bullet you have.
Shoot the wounds closed or whatever.
The gun gets hot and you cauterize.
Yeah, shoot it really super fast so it gets hot and cauterize the wound with a barrel. It's just an example, but we do that all the time. We get wrapped around the axle. And last week on Thursday, Jared, when we talked about when I talked about both the books, The Five Rings and the Demon Sermon on Martial Arts, in the Demon Sermon, it talks a lot. Eastern martial arts are really big into the yin yang, into the male, female, masculine, feminine.
I would say Musashi was really when you had me read Musashi, that was when I first started really thinking about balance.
Well, Musashi says in the very first chapter of the book that you need to focus on other things besides the killing arts. You can't just focus on the sword exclusively because you won't have balance in your life. And that's something that we as Westerners have lost. Easterners they've been focused on that forever, basically. But even the Easterners, they have some. They lost it too. Like when they went from the jitsus to the dos, when they went from fighting arts to sport arts, and they lost a lot of that as well. So here we are again as a society trying to relearn the lessons that our forefathers knew. Which is another thing that I mentioned in the Honey Badger is how we've done that to ourselves as a culture. We just assume that what we know, that our kids will know it, the future generations will know it just based on the fact that we know it, or based on the fact that there's an internet. Well, there's an internet, and you can get every piece of information you could possibly ever want, you could get from the internet. Well, having access to information and actually possessing knowledge are not the same things. So when it comes to whether you're a gun carrier or a martial artist or an athlete or whatever it is you're doing in your daily life, we have a tendency to get focused on one topic and one topic only to the detriment of all others. And you really need to have balance in your life.
Yeah. And when you going back to what you're saying about passing along knowledge, I kind of had a moment this morning when I was teaching. I was hoping to teach that class in there. And one of the dudes has been coming in for, I don't know, probably 6 months. Mm-hmm. So I assume that he knows some of the things that I think he knows. Like, for instance, we were doing clinches, and we had like a little red dummy that doesn't have any arms. It's just the stand-up straight dummy. Mm-hmm. And it's shaped like a person. It's got like a head and some shoulders. And so I was having him clinch, but he was clinching around the shoulders rather than clinching the back of the head. And I was like telling him what to do. I was telling him where to clinch, but he wasn't doing it right. And I was getting kind of irritated. I was going to say irritable. I was getting irritated. But then I thought, I was like, maybe he just doesn't know, because I don't think, looking back on it now, I don't think we've actually ever just worked on clinches alone. We've kind of worked them in with other stuff. So I took the time and I taught him exactly step by step how to do what I was thinking in my head. Because when I think it, he just doesn't read my mind. Yeah,
it's crazy how people just don't read your thoughts and know what you're thinking.
Yeah, so we went through that, taught him step by step how to do it, and then I had him do that whole round over again. And he did it correctly. And I was like, wow, that was my bad as an instructor.
Teaching 101.
Yeah.
Teaching 101.
Well, sometimes it's like doing the radio. Sometimes you think, well, everybody already knows who I am.
I've been struggling with that for 25 years. Yeah. You know, do I really need to say this? It's like when people will say, you know, advanced people or people who've been with us a long time, they're like, oh, you don't need to say that, Paul. I already know. You already told me. I get it. Yeah, but it's not necessarily about you. There are every week there are hundreds or now thousands of people that discover this material for the first time.
Yeah. You know how you get Professor Paul to stop saying things? You say that for him.
It's like, why I have to keep saying that? Because apparently not everyone gets it.
Yeah.
All right, let's thank our friends. Let's thank our friends at Century Arms, centuryarms.com. And they're doing another contest, or they're doing another giveaway. Jared, did you see that? They're giving away, or they have like a special. If you buy a TP9 pistol, they'll send you a 20-round magazine. Go to centuryarms.com and check out or any of their.
When you said that, I thought you said Crossbreed. So in my mind, I was like, Crossbreed has another sale?
No, they just did Century Arms.
Okay. And then I was like, how can you buy a TP9 SA from Crossbreed? I don't understand.
Man, you need a ginkgo biloba today or something. Yeah. Right. That's because Crossbreed is the next up on the list. And we already did the Crossbreed 15% off, and it was only good until the 3rd. So it's not 3rd anymore.
Too late.
But you still want to pay close attention to them. Go to crossbreedholsters.com. Frog Lube and froglube.com. You can get Frog Lube Extreme from them, and you can get it from Brownells.
Frog Lube what?
Frog Lube Extreme.
He's very timid today.
Go to Brownells.com for all your emergency and survival gear. For ammo, they're running this week. Brownells is running an ammo sale. And you know why I know that? Because I'm on their email list. And this morning I opened up my email and it said, ammo sale. And I clicked on it. I was like, oh, ammo sale. There you go. Duracoat at Lauer Custom or LauerWeaponry.com. Or if you just feel like going over to Brownells, you can buy your Duracoat can technology and DuraBlue. If rebluing
amazing product.
If rebluing a gun is on your list of things to do, you can reblue a gun with DuraBlue in your own backyard, garage, workshop.
Those of you that saw on the TV show the video that I put up, it's really amazing how it looks. I don't know how it works. I'm not that technical of a person, but
not a scientist.
Yeah, whatever. It works, and it looks cool.
And don't forget about our friends at Velocity Triggers.
Superior quality and value.
Superior quality and value at velocitytriggers.com. You got a black rifle? They have a trigger for you. All right, our favorite slaves and slave masters are at it again. They just won't stop.
I like to teach you all the rules. I get to see them set in stone. I like it when you chain me to the bed, but then you see me stand.
Now, Jared, I'm going to caution you. If you open this story note, it has an autoplay video, so be careful. Be
Yeah, I
careful
got
with
that.
your volume.
The sound's down.
Yeah, a lot of these websites will do that. They decide that you need to hear the video whether you click it or not. But this is WashingtonTimes.com, and the story, the lead title is New York lawmakers float bill to restrict gun ammo sales as opposed to other kinds of ammunition. I love. Don't you love these SEO titles? It's to restrict gun ammo sales. They're not going to restrict knife ammo sales, thank the Lord, but only gun ammo sales. Well, what's this all about? I'm curious. You're curious. State lawmakers from Brooklyn on Monday. Now, this is state lawmakers. A lot of you people might think, oh, this is just New York City, and I don't live in New York City, so I don't care. No. They're trying to impose this on the entire state of New York. State lawmakers from Brooklyn on Monday introduced new legislation that seeks to greatly restrict the the amount of ammo gun owners can purchase in New York State, not city. The Twin Bills, sponsored by State Senator Roxanne Persaud and Assembly Member Joanne Simon, were reportedly drafted in an effort to keep. Check this out. This is a little game that we're playing called Just How Stupid Are the American People? Well, let's find out. To keep would-be terrorists from stocking up on ammunition. Yeah, because we know that Democrat leftists, that their biggest concern is stopping terrorists. Well, we want to stop them from stocking up on ammo, but we don't want to stop them from coming into the country because that would be xenophobic and wrong. So what we're going to do is we're going to allow all these terroristic monsters to come into the country, but don't worry, we're going to pass a bill limiting the amount of ammunition that you can buy. Oh, wow, I feel better already. Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams also helped draft the bills. Here we got a quote here from Ms. Persaud. Limiting the quantity and duration between purchases of ammunition is one step in preventing someone with criminal intent from easily accessing large quantities of ammunition, Persaud said in a statement. She said it in a statement. If enacted, the legislation would place strict limits on the number of bullets a gun owner can purchase. Well, what about cartridges of ammunition? Can they still purchase cartridges of ammunition, or is it only the projectile? I don't know. Well, what we do know is that the people who write news stories don't understand the difference between a projectile and a cartridge, but whatever. A strict number of bullets a gun owner can purchase over a 90-day period and ban gun dealers from selling ammunition for a firearm to anyone unauthorized to own such a weapon. What now? So the bill would ban gun dealers from selling ammunition for a firearm to anyone unauthorized to own such a weapon. So in New York, help me out with this, Jared. You seeing what I'm saying here? In New York, they're going to make a determination over who is allowed to own what kind of firearm?
That's what it sounded like to me.
Well, I guess.
But I'm not a lawyer, or I didn't stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. So.
No. Well, we already know that in New York you have to get a special permission slip from the government to buy a handgun, and that your handgun permission slip can and does expire. And if you have a handgun and your government-issued permission slip expires, that the sheriff will send his minions around to take it from you.
Hold on.
We know that.
I understand their logic. You want me to explain it?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so if the terrorists or the would-be terrorists,
would-be terrorists with criminal intent,
if they get a gun illegally and they circumvent the system and they don't go through the system and they still acquire a gun, they won't be able to get ammunition because it'll be hard for them to get, so they won't get it.
Right, because the
gun that they got illegally
won't come with ammo. It doesn't come with ammo.
Yeah, with no ammo,
yeah, they don't come with ammo.
Pointless.
So when they get a gun from an illegal source, that same illegal source that was able to provide them with a firearm will not be able to provide them with ammunition, because we know that you can only get ammunition, like guns, through licensed FFL dealers, and you wouldn't steal it like from cops and government agencies, because that's never happened in the history of ever. And we also know that terrorists and criminals go through background checks and so forth, because they do the right thing. That's how we keep bad guys from having guns, is by, expanding the background check system. What? You mean none of that works? So who's this bill actually aimed at? Well, it said the bills are aimed at owners of high-capacity rifles. Now, hang on a sec. Wait a tick. Didn't His Majesty Emperor Kumo force through the Unsafe Act to restrict the number of bullets that you can put in your gun in New York? Didn't he cap it at 7? So how can there be high-capacity rifle owners in New York? But they would also affect owners of handguns with much smaller magazines, even 6-shooters. They threw the word 6-shooters into their article here. They're so quaint. The provision would limit the amount of bullets a gun owner can buy to no more than twice the amount of the capacity of the weapon for. Oh my God! Oh, my brain.
That only makes sense to smart people, don't you know?
Every 90 days, which means someone who owns a 6-shooter can only buy 12 bullets every 3 months.
Do you know what a cop is? A gun, the 4-shot Derringer.
Oh yeah, the COP. Yeah, those are old.
Yeah, Shorty has one, and that was
really.
Yeah, that was first. It's a family heirloom.
Family heirloom. Yeah.
And I went to his house last night.
Does it have is it 357?
Yeah, 38 or 357.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to put those in there. But anyway, so he gave it to me, and I was testing the trigger. Holy crap.
It's horrible, wasn't it?
Yes.
Was it like...
Yeah, like I understand that if you have to use that, you're already close enough, whatever. But holy crap. I wouldn't want to rely on that to save my life.
You've never experienced the AMT-45 backup. The AMT-45 backup had a 20-plus pound trigger on it when it first came out. I'm not kidding you. I fired 5 shots out of one to test it, and my trigger finger was tired.
Wow.
They're like, well, you're not going to fire more than 5 shots because it's I'm like, oh, God, it was horrible.
I had never heard of that.
Dude, check out the logic from Ms. Simon. I want you to be treated to this logic. If I have a cold, I can't buy Sudafed without ID. But I can walk into any gun shop and walk out with enough bullets to arm a small army without showing any kind of ID, Ms. Simon said.
She's
in
obviously
a joint release.
Never bought ammo.
Really? Because they just sell it to children? People, I don't understand. I can buy any kind of bullets regardless of what kind of gun I own. I don't even have to own a gun to stock up on bullets. Nothing stops me from having friends buy even more bullets for me. The sky is the limit. The San Bernardino shooters, you mean the Muslim missionaries? The jihadists, the Islamic jihadists that murdered people in America? No, we're going to call them the San Bernardino shooters. Let's call them what they are, Ms. Simon. The Muslim terrorists in San Bernardino had over 6,000 rounds of ammunition. Well, first of all, they didn't fire 6,000 rounds of ammunition. And second of all, they were human vermin. They were evil Muslim missionaries. So your plan, you're going to punish every law-abiding firearms owner in the state of New York because you and people like you and your ilk refuse to keep monsters out of our nation. Well, the only way we can stop crime is to limit the rights of the law-abiding. Yeah, that's it exactly. I'm done listening to you. That's your America. And I know that you people are out there in the audience saying, Paul, I don't live in New York. I don't care. Folks, if you haven't learned by now that they throw out these trial balloons, that they put this garbage out there to see if it'll stick. They make it as an argument. They throw this out there and they're like, okay, well, we want to limit it all. And they're like, tell you what we'll do. We'll compromise with you. Rather than limiting it to every 90 days, we'll limit it. We'll adjust it to every 60 days. How's that sound? Does that work for you? Folks, don't let them get away with it. We got, before I let you go, we've got one more story coming out of the glorious People's Republic of New York. And His Majesty, Emperor Kumo. Now, in New York, isn't it against the law now to refer to someone by the incorrect gender identifier? You could be arrested and charged now for using.
Seriously?
Yeah. You didn't see that?
No.
How did you not see that?
I like spend my time in my office and I'm in a box.
No. In New York, they passed that if you refer to someone by the wrong gender pronoun, then they can charge you with like a gender hate crime or something. Like if you refer to someone as a he,
I have to confirm
and they
this.
have decided that they want to be a she. That it's been all over. It's on Breitbart. It was. I mean, I tweeted it.
Did you talk about it out loud?
No, I didn't want to bother you with that because I know you're busy. Anyway, so Ms. Kumo ordered that homeless be taken to shelter in freezing weather. This is a story from January 3rd on the NewYorkTimes.com. As an Arctic front barreled towards the New York City region, Governor His Majesty Emperor Andrew Cuomo signed an executive order, apparently following the lead of Comrade Barry, signed an executive order on Sunday requiring, check this out, requiring, not suggesting, but requiring local governments across the state, or the People's Republic, to take homeless people off of the streets to shelters in freezing temperatures. That was kind of a weird sentence. To shelters in freezing temperatures. So they're going to take them off the streets and put them into a shelter that is freezing? How about during freezing temperatures? The order, which goes into effect early Tuesday, requires local governments to remove homeless people by force, if necessary, once the temperature drops to 32 degrees or below. The governor's order says that to protect the safety, or protect public safety, quote, this is from His Majesty Emperor Kumo, the state can take appropriate steps, including involuntary placement. Allow that for one moment to sink into your skulls. All of you guys out there listening, you guys and gals who still have liberal friends and acquaintances, that have Democrat friends and acquaintances, let that sink in. But here's the sick thing. A lot of them will agree with this. That the state has the authority to physically remove a human from a public thoroughfare for their own good. No probable cause, no reasonable articulable suspicion, no charges. According to His Majesty, it's about love, It's about compassion. It's about helping one another and basic human decency. So, according to His Majesty Emperor Kumo, he's going to order the fuzz, the coppers, the arm of the state, to physically remove by force, if necessary, homeless people. Who
Do you want me to tell
do
you?
homeless people have like big signs around the neck that says "I am homeless" and there's like that like identify them? Do they have ID cards that say, John Doe homeless on them?
Do you want me to tell you my experience with a homeless person that I had on New Year's in Mobile?
Well, certainly.
So it was myself, Alex, and Chrissy, Alex's business partner. It was New Year's Day. We were eating breakfast at a little cafe thing. And it was inside the Battle House Hotel, which is where we stayed. And this dude walked in the door, and he was obviously either homeless or something. He didn't...
Degenerate? Was he like dirty and...
Yeah, he was dirty and nasty. And so I watched him. He walked over to one of the tables, and he asked them something, probably for food or money or something, because they gave him a piece of pizza. And so he ate the pizza, and then he like made his rounds around the restaurant.
The restaurant allowed this.
Yeah. And I don't know if they saw it. They were so busy. I don't know if they even noticed what was going on. But I noticed.
Somebody noticed.
Yeah. And so he made his rounds around he didn't hit every single table, but he just picked tables. I don't know why he picked my table. Why did he pick my table? I don't know.
I don't know. Because you had women with you?
Yeah, maybe. So he comes up to my table and he says, "Can you spare anything for food, for something to eat?" And I was like, so I looked at him and I could tell, like, I don't know. I could just tell that he didn't want food. He wanted money.
Right.
So I told him, I said, "Sit down at this table." There's an empty table next to us. I said, "Sit down at this table, order what you want. I'll pay for it on my tab." And so he looked at me and he's like, "Oh man, I really appreciate it. Let me go tell." And I couldn't hear what he said. It sounded like, "Let me go tell my little boy." So I thought he was going to bring back a little kid in to eat too, which would have been fine. But so he walked outside and never came back. He didn't want food because I was going to feed the guy.
Give him cash because you can't buy booze with food.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And
can't buy dope with food.
When he looked at me and said, "I'll be back," I could see it in his eye that he wasn't going to come back. Because it was funny because Chrissy and Alex were waiting for the dude to come back, and I told him, I was like, "He's not coming back." And they're like, "Oh no, I think he'll come back." I'm like, "No, he's not coming back."
No women. Okay. Wow, that's interesting.
And I learned that a long time ago. Don't give them money.
If they're really hungry, if
eat
you
the
were
food.
really hungry and someone offered you food, would you take food?
Yeah.
Or I don't want your stinky food. I want. It was like when the homeless person saying, "Hungry, any help is appreciated," and a military guy handed him an unopened MRE and they threw it on the ground.
Yeah. I didn't know that. When was that?
I was in Alabama. I was actually in an intersection in it was Pensacola. It was a few years ago. But the guy standing there with a cardboard sign that said "Hungry, any help appreciated," right? And he was sending it at a stoplight.
Yeah.
And so there's like two cars in front of me, and dude rolled down the window and handed him an MRE, right? And he took it, looked at it, threw it on the ground, and kept walking around with the sign.
Wow.
They don't want food. They want money. But whatever. We're not going to get into that. But according to folks, does this? Wow. Now, even the hardcore communist Bill de Blasio, a fellow Democrat, this is a communist, said, "We support the intent of the executive order," the mayor's secretary said, but to forcibly remove all homeless individuals in freezing weather, as the governor has ordered, will require him to pass a state law. Well, no, they don't want to pass a law because laws require time, and you have to propose a bill, and then you have to debate the bill, and it has to go back and forth between the houses, and then they get to change it, and they need to add things and subtract things. Then it has to go to the governor for a signature, and after that, it has to meet constitutional muster, and you can actually have that's the thing that everyone lets these guys get away with is a law actually has to pass constitutional muster. The Supreme Court can look at a law and say, no, that law is not constitutional, and they can void it. Is the Supreme Court voiding executive orders? No, Paul, because they're not laws, because they don't go through. Oh, exactly. Oh. So for all of you out there who still have reasonable friends and friends that think that, they just care for the best, I'm going to remind you guys, I know none of you studied history, but there was a guy named Adolf Hitler. And when World War II started, what they did is they rounded up the mentally incompetent and mentally retarded, and they sent them off to special hospitals so they could be treated for their own good. And they sent their families letters, and they said, hey, we'll take care of these people for you. And, a little while later, they got a letter that said, oh, we're sorry to inform you that they passed away. But that's okay. That's all right. It's for the children. It's for your own good. Get on the boxcar.
You can just save one kid's life.
That's right. Get on the train cars, and we're going to go to a special camp. Get some showers when we get there. Whew. If Emperor Kumo has not been... if this turd hasn't been removed from office by next week, I'm going to say to you people in New York, you can suck it because you're all a bunch of damn slaves. Oh, come on now, Paul. What do you want us to do? Derp, 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 derp. Fantasy football, derp, derp. Reasonable, derp, derp. Yeah, whatever. Let your emperor issue decrees that citizens can be forcibly removed for their own good. No problem with that. I think it's a great idea. Get on it.
I've met some homeless people that are completely happy with the way they live.
Yeah, no. Forcibly. No sweat. It's the best intentions in mind. All right, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, we'll be back with you tomorrow. Until then, remember, you're a beginner once, but you should indeed be a student for life.